Chapter 6. A hot breeze swirled through the air, strong enough to blow some Spanish moss off the neighbor's huge oak tree. It plopped right down on top of me and Mima's bare feet that were pushing off the concrete, keeping the chair to swinging. The moss was nasty and tickled. I kicked my feet in a hurry to get the stuff off me before a spider or some other creepy crawly creature ran up my leg. Mima didn't seem to care one way or the other that the spaghetti-looking weed had made itself comfortable, sitting on top of her foot. I laid my head on Mima's shoulder and stared at the pillowy white clouds scooting across the blue-green sky, trying my best to ignore the kids running around the yard like fools. Mima, can I ask you something? What's weighing on your mind, baby? She fanned herself with a flyer from the Pentecostals who'd come knocking earlier, trying to sell us Jesus, not realizing we already had him. Well, Tay-Tay says that her daddy used to be nice before her mama turned him mean. Uh-huh. Well, is that true? I raised my head up off her shoulder. She reached up and pushed my head back down. Alvin Brown was a good boy till the devil's juice took hold of him. Yeah, but is it true that Tay-Tay's mama was mean? The slap of Mima's hand on the arm of the swing cut me off. She looked at the palm of her hand before wiping the bug guts on the bottom part of her house dress. She stared at me over the top of her glasses, her eyebrows coming together in a perfect letter V in the center of all them wrinkles. I'm going to say this and then I'm done. I sat on the edge of my seat. A big old clump of Spanish moss landed on top of Mima's head. It took a seat up there like a cheap wig, fell right out of the beauty shop in the sky. Georgie went to hollerin' and pointed a finger at Mima. Look at Mima, y'all! The boy was so full of stupid it wouldn't have surprised me none if he went and passed out just from being so full of it. Celie and Kayla were laughing and hopping and laughing. Mima brushed a couple of the scraggly pieces of moss hanging in her eyes off to the side like she was just adjusting her hairdo. I stood up too fast and the swing went crooked, forcing Mima to plant her feet down on the concrete. What is wrong with all y'all? I screamed and stomped my foot down. Both my hands were knotted up in fists. I am trying to have a grown-up conversation with my own Mima, and you're so pea-brained, Georgie. My brother was laughing harder than ever. I wanted to march over there and knock some sense into him. My sisters were acting about as simple as their big brother. Y'all are so immature. I whipped around to face Mima. She sat there blowing poofs of air out the side of her mouth, making the stringy moss flop up, then settle back down in front of her eyes again. Do you like my hairdo? Mima couldn't keep a straight face. I like it, Mima, Georgie hollered from across the yard. Me too, giggled Celie. Me too, said Kayla. Mima looked at me with her bottom lip forced out into a pout. I rolled my eyes and curled up my lip. She blew out another loud poof, and the moss hair flew up again. It was funny the way she sat there with the gross clump on her head. I couldn't keep from smiling no more. Mima smiled with me and started pulling the mess of moss off her head. I helped her. I threw a handful of it into the air when the wind caught a hold of it. The moss sailed up toward the roof and settled there. This is nasty, Mima. Yes, indeed, she said. I picked the last few strands of muck out of her hair. She reached up with her hand and refluffed her real hair until it looked normal. Come sit back down, Mima said, tapping the seat beside her where Keelan's name was carved in the wood. I want to sit with you too, Mima. Celie came butting right in like always. Mima scooched over and made room. Mima leaned in close to my ear and whispered, We'll talk about your cousin's mama later. She rubbed my leg and pushed off with her feet, sending the chair into a swing. I let out a loud sigh. Mima pushed Celie's head down onto her other shoulder and went up to waving her fan again. Whatever. Sometimes I hated having brothers and sisters. I took my finger and traced the letters of my dead Uncle Shelton's name that was carved into the arm of the swing. S-H-E-L. How many hurricanes have you been in, Mima? Celie and her stupid questions. Oh my, more than I care to remember. Really? Celie sat up and faced Mima. What's it like? I kept on tracing the letters, but I put my focus on my ears. Well, every storm is different, Mima said. They've all got their own personality, I guess you could say. Some aren't so bad. You get some rain, some wind, might even lose electricity. And others you just got to get down on your knees and thank the good Lord that you come out on the other side alive. Mima had that faraway look in her eyes. Her body somehow got heavier on the swing. What kind of storm do you suppose Katrina's going to be? I asked. You figure it'll be one of them get down on your knees storms? Mima planted her feet so fast I had to grab hold of the arm of the chair to keep from flying out and landing on my head. Child, don't you even think that. Mima looked straight into my eyes with her face all ugly scrunched. She squeezed her eyes shut, mumbled some words to the Lord, took in a big suck of air, and pushed it out with such force it caused her lips to vibrate. Then, just as quick as ice melts in August, she settled back in the chair. The fan went back to fanning, and her face smoothed out. She gave the concrete a nudge, and we went to swinging again. Mima pushed my head down on her shoulder, forgetting to be gentle about it, and patted my leg. We're going to be fine. Yes, indeed, we're going to be just fine. I blinked about 50 times and breathed in some of that thick, muggy air. After Mom and Daddy got back from the store, the sky felt alive. It had turned a dark, pink, orangey brown color. It was pretty, but I got to thinking how I ain't never seen that color painted across the sky before. It was like God was right on the other side of them colors. I shivered. Looking at the black of the night through my bedroom window made me worry about what might be out there that I couldn't see. Usually I don't like sharing the bed with Celie, but right then I was grateful to have the feel of her up next to me. I was all but sound asleep when Celie threw back the sheet, hopped out of bed, and grabbed her book sack off the stack of stuffed animals piled in the corner. She opened the sack, looked inside, zipped it up, put it on her back, and then jumped back into bed. Celie, what are you doing? I yelled in a whisper. Nothing, Armani, go to sleep. What do you mean, nothing? You can't be bringing that old dirty bag of yours in my bed. I started pulling back the sheet to make it easier for her to get up, but Celie wasn't moving. First of all, my book sack isn't dirty, Armani. And second, it's my bed too. Just go to sleep. Celie must have bumped her head. She took that bag with her everywhere, but she sure never brought it to bed. As long as it don't come on my side. You hear me, Celie? Celie made a huge yawn sound. Yes, I hear you. Good night, Armani. I love you. Yeah, whatever. I flopped to the left, then flopped to the right, trying to find a comfortable position, making sure Celie knew that dumb bag was making the whole bed uncomfortable. It didn't work, though, because she fell asleep faster than Mama could fry an egg, and I was left wide awake, listening to the sounds that were bringing in the storm. I tried to force my brain to think about my party and what I might be getting for a present. But all I could do was think about the colors in the sky. Daddy buying water, the scrunched up worried look on Mima's face, Celie sleeping with her stupid book sack, the Babineaus evacuating.